All right, today we're going to be talking about the black vernissage tomato and the Jimmy Nardello pepper. Both of these were in the free seed giveaway. So to begin with, I have here what is a small seed starter greenhouse. Just got it from the dollar store. Obviously there are a lot of different greenhouses you can get. I generally would probably use Jiffy, but this is good for the small project we're doing here. And so I also have some dollar store seed starting mix. And what I would recommend is that we go ahead and pour that seed starting mix into a bowl. And this is about half the bag. I've already used some out of it. I would say I do prefer the Jiffy. I feel like the plants actually take off at a slightly higher rate or a quicker pace with the Jiffy, but yeah, this will work. So anyhow, any mix you get, when you first start, it's going to be pretty dry. You might even see kind of the cloud of dust that's coming off of that as I go through and just move my hand through it. So you're going to have to add water, and I prefer warm water. That might be because I've done the peat pellets before and you need warm water for that. But let's go ahead and pour in just a good amount of water. We'll probably be adding more, but just start working that in. Yeah, we want to add some more. There. Good. And we're really getting this to be a much more moist and soil-like than that dust-like stuff we started with. And yeah, obviously you'll get your hand dirty. And you probably would be better to err on the side of too moist here. So that's what I'm going to do. Add a little more moisture to it. All right, we're probably getting pretty close. Another reason to obviously have warm water is ultimately your seeds are going to like having a warm environment germinate, both pepper and tomato seeds. Here, let me pull up this greenhouse here. And I'm just going to take the label off of it. The top to this greenhouse is actually right under there. So that's going to be the plastic dome that goes on the top. So anyhow, we'll just take this and stuff it here, making sure that we get them pretty well filled. I just have a standard cutting board down to kind of keep me from making a mess too much. We can just pull that off. But yeah, anyhow, so we want to kind of push down on each one of those holes and then keep filling. And obviously from the dollar store, both that bag of starting mix was $1 and this greenhouse was $1. So there, I think we're pretty good. It does not have to be perfect. There we go. Alright, so there is our seed tray. Let's move this bowl out of the area. I'm going to be planting the pepper seeds on the left side here and the tomato seeds on the right. Generally speaking, it would be better to plant tomatoes and peppers separately in separate grow trays because peppers are going to take longer to germinate and longer to ultimately grow to be as big as your tomatoes are. But regardless, all right. So I've just poured out some Jimmy Nardello pepper seeds into my hand, and I'm just going to plant one in each of these little pods here. Yeah. And I've got six spots for them. Put two in there, two in that one too. That's all good. So anyhow, so there you have it. Now you can either just leave them sitting on the soil here, and I often like to do that, or just barely kind of cover them over like that. Either way works. You can tell a lot easier if they've actually germinated when they're sitting on the surface, but obviously once they start pushing up, you'll see them anyway. So now for the black vernissage tomato. All right, still more than enough. So we have our seeds here. Again, we're going to try to get probably, if you do more than one in each seed spot, that is okay. You can always thin it or even transplant any additional. And so here I'm being a little bit more liberal in how many I'm putting in. And so now we've got it. Tomatoes on the right, peppers on the left, and we'll just cover this with its dome. It's the same basic concept with the much bigger seed trays and domes. Now you're going to want to put this in a warm location. If you have an actual germinating mat that will heat it up, that's great. You don't have to have that. I find that even at room temperature, it will germinate, just probably a little slower than if you had it at 80 some odd degrees. A lot of people put them on the refrigerator because there's often heat given off. If you have a place in your house that you know is fairly hot, it's a good place to put them. But you're going to leave this dome on until you do see that the seeds have germinated, and you can leave them in an unlit area until you see that they are germinated. But as soon as you start seeing actual growth, you want to move them under lights. And we'll talk further about varying lighting setups in a future episode. And we're only a few minutes after shooting the video of planting these seeds, and look how already there's a lot of condensation on the top of this dome. That's what it's doing. It's trapping in the moisture and keeping this a very moist environment to help promote that germination. So there's the basics of starting seeds. Let me show you a couple of other ways as well. So one way, and particularly for the stage we're in now, where it is already late April, there is really no reason not to just plant straight. I mean, we could actually plant outside, and maybe I will try a seed or two outside too and show you how that goes. But there's no reason not to just go like this. Here's my tomatoes, and what I have here is my growing medium, which in this case it's actually municipal compost, even though I'm going in a cup here. Because we are starting seeds, I'm going to add a little bit of seed starter mix. It's a little bit more of a sterile, friendlier environment even on top of this compost. I'll just put that in. It holds moisture perhaps a little bit better, although honestly I've done it straight in the compost before and it really works just as well. But here's some seed starting mix to put slightly on the top, and then just put out here's a few. I think I put 4 vernissage tomato seeds in the right, and then there's 5 I guess, Jimmy Nardello pepper seeds in the left. And so all we're going to do here is water these in. before I pour water in the next one, let me just show you what I've got here. This is actually 2 cups. The bottom of this cup actually has holes poked into it, and we'll talk more about setting up this method. But then you just have another cup that will hold the water, and that's all we're doing there. So let's go ahead and water in those pepper seeds as well. And so the water is actually draining out of the bottom of the cup as it goes down through this soil. And see it bubble up there, getting rid of the air. And then until it's germinated, we're actually going to put some Ziploc baggies on here. Now what I've got here are a couple just basic quart size zipper containers. We're going to put them over and just press in on the bottom so that you're leaving only just a little bit of an opening here that air will go in. Mostly what you're doing is trapping the moisture so you have a good environment for the germination. All right, and like the other, you can go ahead and put these in a warm place and just wait for them to germinate. But the advantage here is that you will be growing in this container until you're ready to transplant outside. And honestly, we're at a point already that in a lot of growing zones, you could probably be moving these outside fairly early. And I would actually suggest that we're going to avoid a hardening off process since we're so late in the year by soon after the seedling phase moving them outside. But we'll talk about that more in a future video. One final thing I would like to note, another popular way of germinating seeds is in what is called a peat pellet. These start as just little tiny discs that you add water to and they expand. And, they're filled mostly with peat moss here, and you would just start your seeds in this part here, and it's a similar process. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like it if you liked it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.